This is Long Island, New York, home to some of the world's wealthiest suburbs, including the Hamptons, the playground to the super rich. But far beneath this ground is a chemical contamination plume created by decades of industrial waste dumped by an aerospace giant. Well, has that contamination plume seeped into the drinking water? Has it created a deadly so-called cancer cluster right here? Some experts say yes. If you lived on Long Island, would you drink the water?
No.
You're telling me that the water here is hazardous to our health.
Correct.
I'm here with Dr. Jesse Stoff, expert in environmental contaminants. Dr. Stoff, tell me a little bit about your background.
I'm a clinical immunologist, and as such, I treat people with very severe diseases, advanced autoimmune diseases, cancers, immune deficiencies, and the like.
What's going on Long Island?
The problems with water on Long Island go back decades. It goes back literally to the 40s and 50s when they were spraying DDT all over the place and the pesticides are leaching into the aquifer. And then in the 50s we have the aerospace industry that was in the Bethpage area dumping all sorts of volatile organic hydrocarbons into the aquifer. These things are all very toxic and known to be highly carcinogenic.
All right, so the aquifer is contaminated. Why don't they just fix it?
Well, there's only one aquifer for all of Long Island, and it's very difficult to fix. Because as these chemicals leach deeper and deeper through the soil and percolate into the aquifer, it spreads laterally through the aquifer, so there's no one point where they could actually strain the water and clean it up easily. Number two, we have a secondary problem. The water still goes through a very old infrastructure in a lot of places, such as New York City and in New Jersey, and it sits overnight in pipes that have lead solder joints, and it picks these heavy metals back up into the water. So when you turn on the tap first thing in the morning, you're getting a cup full of very toxic stuff. You have arsenic, mercury, cadmium, lead, zinc, certain forms of chromium, all of which are very toxic. And you can find these things coming out of the tap in New York City.
So what kind of health problems are you seeing in your practice from contaminated water?
We're seeing very large increases of a wide range of cancers. Some of the most common cancers, of course, are breast, lung, and colon, and high rates of prostate cancer, of course. Most cancers, over 75%, are triggered by environmental toxins, not genetics. We have blood tests now where we can actually tell the difference as to where the cancer originated from. So when we're dealing with somebody with an environmentally triggered cancer, which is most of my patients, it's very, very important to clean up their personal environment.
How big a problem is this in America right now?
It's a huge problem. And we find that there are toxins that are across the United States in virtually every water supply. And that's a big problem in the schools in New Jersey when they found over 12 times the national limit of lead in the school system's water supply. This is a national problem. This isn't local. Talk about Fallon, Nevada, where they had a huge cancer cluster of leukemia because of toxic chemicals that were dumped at the local Air Force base. Of course, Flint, Michigan has made it to the cover of Time magazine and everything else. But it's a problem all over the United States. It's all a problem all over the world. This is a huge problem.
Well, what about those people that say, well, you know what, I boil it, before I use it, so it's fine.
Okay, well, when you boil water, you actually concentrate some of these toxins. And the reason for that is that whatever toxins are in the water, as you boil off the water becomes more concentrated. You're boiling some of it away. And the temperature of boiling water is not going to take lead, arsenic, cadmium, mercury out with it. It's a heavy metal. It's not going anywhere. So it could actually make the problem worse.
So what do you think the solution is to this problem?
We have to have our own filtering system to help to protect us. There's no place left on planet Earth where there's pure water because of the air pollution and the rain washing these toxins back into the water, our lakes, our streams, our aquifers. It's all polluted to some degree. We have to take responsibility and filter and take care of our own water.
Dr. Stoff, thanks so much for taking the time to talk.
My pleasure.
All right, so you've heard about it on Long Island. You've heard about it in Flint, Michigan. It's a problem probably all over America. But what about in your hometown?